York's classic rock. Q1043.
It's 8:07, and Shelley is beside herself
I am.
with joy.
I'm such a fan.
She's just
Such a fan.
Well, introduce your fellow Philadelphian.
Titus Welliver. Okay, now you're going.
He's
don't
that
know.
guy.
He's Bosch.
He's the guy that you see on TV, on the greatest shows all the time.
I watched you on Deadwood. I'm still watching The Good Wife because I'm way behind in binging.
Sons of Anarchy is
Sons
one of my
of
favorite
Anarchy,
shows.
one of the best shows on TV. My God, you've done so much.
Movies too.
Yes.
Movies too, but I have a question. Well, they were bonding. I couldn't get a word in edgewise because Titus was kind of raised in Philadelphia and then came to New York. And, Shelley, she was raised in Philadelphia, and we just gave away tickets to a Metallica concert in Philadelphia. And we're all Philadelphia out here in the studio this morning, and they're talking about stuff I don't even know what they're talking about. Certain types of tasty cakes and stuff, but there was some real bonding going on. But Titus, I have a question for you because you started out as a New York actor, and you studied
NYU grad.
Yeah, NYU, and you studied at HB,
yes,
which is a lot of very fine actors studied at HB, and I'm looking through your formidable list of credits here. I mean, not just some of the things in the streaming era that Shelley was talking about, but, Matlock, L.A. Law, The X-Files, NYPD Blue. I mean, just huge credits. I don't see any Law and Order.
I've done a few.
Thank goodness.
See?
Thank goodness. I thought you were going to be the only New York actor ever lived that Dick Wolf didn't employ at some point.
No, I did that show a few times. And most recently, I want to say probably 5 years ago, I had a recurring character, an arc, where I played this terrible guy who was sort of based on Jeffrey Epstein, not leaning in too much to the dark stuff. So I went head to head with Mariska, who's an old friend. So when you get to work with friends, it's great. It's kind of like acting in your living room or in the backyard doing a puppet show. But
because when you go to any Broadway or off-Broadway show, and you read the performers' bios in the playbill, every single one of them has been on some variation of a Law and Order.
And you have to understand, Titus, this is all Jim watches on TV. Other than classic movies, he goes home every day and he watches Law and Order reruns. He's not watching the current.
Oh, I watch NCIS reruns too.
All right, yes, to be fair.
Well, when that show came out, we really didn't. I mean, as a New York show, there had never been anything like it, and something that was that sort of beautifully realized as procedural. And it was Michael Moriarty and Stephen Hill. I mean, you had incredible actors too, and it was a pretty dark show for that time. And here we are, almost 30 years later, and it's still going.
It's incredible, and it kept New York actors eating.
Oh, it did. It
did.
There was a time where, there was only one, and if you showed up on, you prayed that you might get more than one episode, because otherwise you'd have to sit out for a couple of seasons, because they wouldn't let you come back and play somebody else. Oh, I'll grow a beard, I'll dye my hair. No,
But I mean, these are just incredible credits here. I mean, these are all big shows. I mean, The Man in Black on Lost.
That was a lot of fun,
on
and
ABC.
that's had a resurgence of life since Netflix has put it out now.
See, you could be set up for the next few years just streaming your shows, all these shows that you've been on.
I was very lucky. That was a run. I mean, at one point I was shooting the film The Town in Boston.
Love that one.
That's with Ben Affleck.
With Ben Affleck, and shoot down to New York, shoot a couple of days on The Good Wife, get on a plane, fly to Hawaii, shoot on Lost, then stop off in L.A., shoot an episode or two of Sons of Anarchy, then come back to Boston and work on The Town. But it was great fun. I mean, I was, and there were wonderful shows and great experiences that I'll always cherish.
And since you take on the characteristics of other people as an actor, sometimes you would find yourself, I'm sure, being identified as that other person,
Yes.
rather than as Titus.
Yes.
It's like people look at you and go, "Bosh!"
Yeah, in New
Tough
York,
guy.
you get a lot of screams because I'm a New Yorker, right? And New York fans are very proprietary. So there's that familiarity where I get screamed at from a truck, and then they'll just put the flashers on and get out of the truck. So what are you doing over here? What's going on? You shooting a movie over here? Yeah. All right. Look, hometown boy does good. You can take the boy out of the city.
Yeah, but imagine for some people it must be very difficult, because how on earth can you live up to certain things? like Chris Noth, for instance, Mr. Big.
Yeah.
He has to live his life as Mr.
Yeah.
Big. Think of all the disappointment that could potentially cause.
It could be worse. He could have been Mr. Small,
Yeah. In which case, yeah, that's
right?
yeah. That's when you wear a baseball cap and big glasses.
But as you know, you played some tough guys.
Very tough guy. Scary. Like, you could
Some
be
good
scary.
villains, some scary villain characters, that's what it's all about anyway. You want to kind of stretch your wings as much as possible. So I've been very lucky that way, that I could kind of jump back and forth.
So how do you get in that headspace to play the villain? Is there somebody or something you're channeling?
Sometimes I think if it's based on an actual character, you do research and try to find video or something of that and bring it close. I just played Alan Dulles, who I consider to be a villain.
Okay, and his brother too?
Yeah.
Both villains?
And that, I didn't want to do, a reenactment, but you do the research and then achieve the look, listen to the voice a bit, and then other things, it's straight fiction, and you have the ability to kind of create the character from the ground up. I mean, obviously based on what the author has put out there. But that's the beauty, and that's the fun part of the collaboration of creating a character out of that.
I think you and Trevor need to do a Christopher Walken duel.
There's no mine's poor.
Walking off.
A walking off. We need a walking off.
I can only do Christopher Walken when he introduces the Foo Fighters.
Okay, well, let's do that right after the break. We'll have the walking off.
The walking
Okay.
off.
Oh, the pressure!
Titus Welliver's with us here at
He
Q104.
lists 27 credits.
Okay, well, it's time.
I have a request.
Yes.
Can I go first?
Yes.
So that way I'm not super
I think we made
embarrassed.
you really nervous.
Titus Welliver is here.
You read the guy's resume on the air.
And we're going to have.
I watched one YouTube video. I thought I could do this.
Okay.
We're having a walking off is
Yes.
what we're having.
Yes.
That's right.
Christopher Walken, and first up will be Trevor Martin.
Ladies and gentlemen, Foo Fighters.
I thought that was pretty good.
That's very good.
Okay.
I'm
And
all
it's-
red now. I
But
look like
now-
the Kool-Aid Man.
Did Grohl ever tell you guys how that came about? 'Cause
No.
Walken
No.
said to him when they were doing SNL, he said, "How do you pronounce? What's the emphasis on?" And Dave set him up, and he said, "It's Foo Fighters," and that's why Walken goes, "Foo Fighters."
See?
Hey, I thought your Walken was.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was really good. It's a draw.
To try, yeah, sure.
Well, wait a minute. All right. So Trevor, do you also do Al Pacino?
Hooah! That's all I got.
Okay, that I can't give you high marks for that.
No. You should have quit while you were ahead. No, Shelley set you up for
yeah, I
failure
know.
there. Yeah.
Well, let's see. What can I do from Pacino that's
no. Well,
we
famous
didn't
enough
get
on
Titus.
the radio?
You do you're out of order. Let's see how there's many phases of Al Pacino. You got young Al Pacino when his voice.
Well, let's hear it.
Well, he would talk like this in Serpico, right?
That is Serpico.
and his voice.
And now his voice is like this. Let me tell you, baby, I'm here on Jim Care Radio, baby. Gonna rock it out. Play some Zeppelin, Jim.
We already did.
Play some Louis Prima.
Well, that's a similar voice to Louis Prima's with
Yeah.
that with that.
I've never taken a bigger L in my life. Than
David Lee Roth covered Louis Prima.
Yes, he did.
Yes.
not doing David Lee Roth. Don't look at me.
Just a Gigolo. Just a Gigolo was a big hit for Louis Prima, Trevor. Well, that's the end of the educational portion of our program today.
That's right.
Brought to you by viewers like you.
Titus. It's time for shameless plugs.
I didn't even know why you were up here. I was just excited you were here. You're plugging something.
I'm always plugging something.
The guy he's flying across the country filming every day.
What? What are you up to?
I just finished a movie called Hotel Tehran with Liam Neeson. That's not coming out for a while. They've still got quite a bit to do. But apropos of Al Pacino, I did a film with him, shot it in December. So it's called Killing Castro. And that's the film I play Alan Dulles in. And it's a great cast, and it's all about when Fidel Castro came to speak to the UN here in New York, and the FBI and the CIA were not happy about that, and he connected with Malcolm X. So it was a hornet's nest, and they tried to kill him several times.
They stayed up on 125th Street.
That's right.
When he was here in town, and one of the things was the exploding cigar.
Yes, and that's discussed in the film, but that was I got to work with my idol. Check that box.
Wait a minute. Did you do him to him?
No.
Oh, you should have.
No.
How could you not do that?
Okay, here's a question. When you work with your idol, do you tell your idol that he's your idol at any point? Like when you rap, do you say that was such an incredible experience? I've dreamed of this day, and thank you very much.
Yes, that's what I did. He treated me as an equal, which was completely disarming for me. I wasn't anticipating him, being a different way, but he was incredibly gracious and lovely, and just it was a magnificent experience. And it's one of those great things when you do get to meet your heroes. He could not have been more lovely. Just incredible.
And when's that coming out?
Don't have a release date on that, but 2025 will be busy. Lots of films, and then we have our final season of Bosch Legacy is coming out in March, and they're doing a spin-off from Bosch called Ballard with the great Maggie Q, who is another character from the books. She's a young homicide detective that Harry Bosch kind of mentors. So.
And in your spare time, if you have any, you're a landscape painter. Well, your parents both artists, and you also not only love rescue animals, you live with them.
It's true with a bunch of them. And you're a rescue animal person. I would rescue them all. That's the problem, and I would have to live in Yankee Stadium because I don't have enough room in my house.
I have a blind rescue who was abused. He's anxious. I mean, he's a real head case, but I am his seeing eye human. I have to tell him when we're out for walks, car coming other way, big ass truck coming, Fritz. And he knows.
New York's classic rock, Q1043.